Uh, the comedy of life. So I have a friend that says that dating is the same wherever you are in whatever city. And I completely disagree. Because I've dated in Hermosa Beach, Los Angeles, California. I've dated in Santa Monica, California, and I've dated in Boston, Mass. And let me tell you, it's like going to three different planets, okay? And Hermosa Beach, by far, for me, being the best option. Santa Monica and Boston are totally cancerous. Because, like, I just don't understand Boston. And Santa Monica, it was kind of weird, too, but I don't really understand that either. But I'm starting to think that education, no, it's not education. What is it? It's like, it's a feminist kind of culture gives, I guess this is obvious, like people figured this out years ago, but like I'm the last one of the party. But the more feminist a woman is, the more attitude she has in being ugly. And you see, I'm a single guy and I'm tall and, white guy, blue eyes, lots of money, good body. And I don't take any shit from beta girl commies. And I don't want to hang with them. I don't want to deal with them. You got to realize, like, the whole thing of dating is really outmoded anyway. I think Wilt Chamberlain was really right about this. Marriage, too. So I recommend do not get married. Do not live with anybody. Live alone. And as Tom Leykis says, just date around. Just have sex with whoever you like. But don't be dating one person. Like, date, 10 girls at the same time. And thing women need to get through their thick skulls is that marriage and dating were for a time hundreds of years ago when, like, a rich baron who had money and lived in a nice castle or something went down to, like, the township where people were living in, like, thatch huts with nothing. Maybe they had, like, a couple of chickens or something. And he saw some young hottie and was like, okay, I want her. And, like, then the church, of course, would try to get in the way and say, oh, well, you have to do something for her, family, or something. And then later on, they came up with the whole marriage thing, right? But that was meant for, like, someone who's, like, 40 or 50, or back then, I guess people didn't live longer, but, like, someone who was, like, 30, 40, to be marrying this, like, hot 14-year-old. So there's, like, a titanic, 70% age difference, right? So, like, dating the way women want it today is okay if, like, the guy's 50 and the girl's, like, 16 and really hot with big tits and long hair and everything, tall, really, really, really hot. Right? But women have gotten this confused thinking that you can be, like, short with shitty style and, like, fat and all fucked up, yet still demand of someone your own age all this stuff that, like, should only be really given when the woman is, like, massively better looking than the guy. And that's the core problem right there. In my analysis, even, like, Kevin Samuels can't beat me on this, right? Kevin Samuels can just, try to tell these moms, try to find a sucker, but that's all he's really trying to tell them to do. He's just trying to tell them to settle. No guy should settle. I think everybody should just not get married, and we should have a baby permit that force aborts any babies that the guy doesn't sign off on. And you shouldn't even be able to apply for the baby permit until you've lived together for, like, a year and had lots of sex and make sure you're compatible for the rest of your life, and can live together and aren't bossing each other or whatever. And even then, some women will try to hide their, like, bossy nature, right? Because you got to remember, whenever you have government force involved, right, with something like marriage, see, like, what marriage should be, it should be purely ceremonial. There should be no government force involved. There should be no alimony and no baby payment. And my friend said, like, one of his older friends in Italy was saying something about that. Like, that's why marriages lasted back in the day, because it's like, there's the door. If the woman doesn't like it, like, leave, but don't expect one penny. And if you take the kid, then also don't expect one penny. It's like, why does the guy lose the sex and all the domestic cleaning and whatever the woman does, right, to help the guy? Because remember, the kid is a separate issue. The kid isn't helping the guy. The kid's just a cost to the guy. Right? Same thing to the mom, but, like, so that's another subject. But I'm just talking about let's just talk about the woman for a second. Like, if you want all the benefits and money that comes from having a man who's, like, a productive member of society, then you've got to keep that man happy in every which way he wants. You've got to do everything he wants to be very cooperative, as Kevin Samuel says. But what people don't understand is this is the same thing with hot single chicks. Like, the whole thing, if we didn't have usury banking in society so that some people had, like, zillions of bucks that they didn't really earn, and they just scammed through the legal and regulatory system and done usury, then we wouldn't have this huge like rat race for like impressing chicks, And remember, and all capitalism does is like cater to that, right? Like Vegas used to be a place for like a $4 steak and like $100 your entire room and everything and drinks for the weekend, right? Now it's been amped up where it's more like 10,000 for all that, right? So it's like ballers, there's more and more show off, and the girls are less and less impressed even by Ferraris, right? So it's like it's this huge arms race of show offiness, right? Which is just basically draining men of their money, and it's all bullshit, Like, I've dated very hot women, right? My girlfriend in college, right? And you can say, okay, she was looking for the MRS degree, right? She was in it for the money anyway. But say what you want, right? She was 6'1" with a perfectly toned swimmer body and like not skinny, right? Like nice legs, toned, strong, wide cheekbones, German style, perfect teeth, long hair, blonde. And it's like, I guess I'm spoiled for it because everything else now is just like whatever. And I've had like a super hot Latina girlfriend, but she was a crazy nut job, right? And messed up my life. And that's why I'm here in Boston. And, I'm going to be leaving back for LA soon. Don't you worry. Or Miami or Texas or wherever I'm going to go, right? I actually do want to get a condo on the beach in Thailand, right? Pattaya Beach. That's another thing. So this whole dating thing is so amazing to me because it's like you have like real beta girl commies that have nothing to offer. They're not tall. They're not busty. They're not toned. They don't have long, nice hair. They might even like destroy themselves with tats or piercings, let alone an SJW attitude, right? That's a total turnoff for most guys. And yet they expect the world. And it's astounding to me. It's like, where do you get this attitude? What videos or movies? See, I do blame Hollywood and the usury banker education system for this. Because what they do is they do a lot of man hate, right? They say that men are the reason for all the problems. It's completely the opposite, right? Men built everything. Especially white men. Like all the inventions, all the technologies are mostly white men, white Christian men, not Jewish, right? And if you actually retroactively patented all that stuff, like the whole world would owe like white men like, quintillion, whatever is beyond a quadrillion. Is it a pentillion? I don't know, of dollars, and that's, you could crush all media and big tech, right? All the tech was invented at Xerox PARC. The graphical user interface, TCP/IP, Ethernet, laser printing, icons, all that stuff, right? Even object-oriented programming, although that's not even the best, right? It's really message passing programming. Go look up Alan Kay on that. But this thing like that the whole thing of dating, like where men need to constantly pay stuff, like I think Kevin Samuels is really funny when he says, okay, let's reverse it. The woman pays for all the dates and drinks until sex happens. And women just crap their pants when he puts that in their face, because that would totally put the onus on them. But okay, if you want to date a bunch of people, great, you're paying for everything. This whole idea that guys should pay for all that is bullshit. The second you put 1 cent on the table, guys, right, you're saying that woman is better than you. Remember, women, if you really want to think of equality and all that stuff, think that women are just like men, right? And remember, manufacturing and engineering produces all the value. All the other jobs should be eliminated. Science is not important. Manufacturing is important. Ask China. They're manufacturing and mass-producing cities, right? And they're using thorium atomic, which is one of our best ideas from the 50s that we somehow dropped the ball on. And Kirk Sorensen is correcting that at Fleet.com, but you can't get any of the usury bankers to fund them. Instead, they're all lined up, 20 startups deep in Silicon Valley trying to get the government money to do crappy versions. And Fleet is the way to go. They've got the proper way to do safe atomic power in a small power plant. It's very, very safe. It auto shuts off. So this kind of thing, it just obsoletes Israel and Mideast wars, right? You don't need, and then it obsoletes, if they were smart, and Trump or whoever, you can steal this idea from me anytime, get the military to build an atomic power distribution grid that's not knockoutable. Just like the internet is supposed to be for telecom, like you can nuke half the country and it'll just route around that nuclear, crater. So you can't kill the internet, right? Because it'll just route around. All those little computers talking, just take another route way north or way south or whatever, right? To get around it. As long as you have one link, the whole thing's up. So do the same thing for power. Build next to every city a small Fleeb.com thorium safe atomic liquid salt power plant. Then create, like, I don't know what you have to do to distribute that power, whether you figure out how to put it in liquid form and then truck it or pipe it around, because that's the ultimate, right? Because remember, Elon Musk should be burned for treason, right? He's just a usury banker, scammer. He got like 13 billion that we know about straight up, and then he's in the middle of currency. He's a middleman on currency with PayPal. That shouldn't be allowed. Credit cards nor PayPal should be allowed to charge any middle fee for any kind of transaction stuff. That should be done as part of the banking system's ability to have your savings money deposited. That should be on them to get that going. And they should use free software to do it, like OpenBSD, which is very secure. And then Arch Linux, if you have really busy transactional servers, maybe you want to use Arch for those hardcore zillion transaction a second servers because it's got better disk performance. But crush big tech, fix medical. Stop paying all these project managers and MBAs and MPHs and accountants. Just computerize all that stuff. And then get the engineers building big, cheap, far apart houses, if not free houses, under a king. We should move back to kingdom. Because capitalism and democracy are both just usury in the end. They're useless and they hold engineering and manufacturing back. Most importantly, manufacturing. See, manufacturing is on top, engineering is below, and then science is below engineering, and medical is also below engineering. That's the way it should go. So that's the basics, folks.